Well, good morning. After the northern lights last night and then quite a sharp frost this morning, the weather's definitely changed. I've got my jumper on, but I'm going to start working on getting the scenics for this area done. I've made a bit of a start. I'm kind of winging it because I'm not sure how I want it to look yet, but I'm going to get some different lengths static grass down. I'm probably going to use the polyfibre. I'll use the woodland scenics, underbrush and bushes. I've got some trees on the go, and I'm probably going to use some of the that rubberized horsehair just to try and make some gorse. So we'll have a play around, see how we get on, and I'll just show you the progress. Right, apologies if there's a slight humming in the background. I've had to give in and put the heater on just to take the chill off. So I've been working on this first building, just testing a few bits out because I think I mentioned I'm really not sure how I'm going to get this area to look how I want it. Ignore the static grass, that doesn't look right yet and it's not finished, but I've just been trying some different things around this building. So I've got some of the that rubberized horsehair covered. I'm not sure if it looks a bit too matty, like it's a matted up that. This has got some bushes around there. This is the sea foam, just a small tree, and I've tried to get some just to start coming out of the roof and the windows. So I'll do the same across here. So it's a start. I'm going to keep trying different things, as I say. I'm just still trying to work out how I'm going to make this track to the sheep field look used but not heavily used, if that makes sense. So I don't want it to be a pristine track. I'm waffling there, so I'm just going to keep playing around, see how we get on. I want to try and get the effect of moss on these roof tiles. I've just been looking at our own house and the terracotta tiles, and there's quite a lot of moss growth on there. So I'm just dabbing some little bits of PVA on my finger, really lightly. Just in some patches. Wipe it all off, and then I'll try and sprinkle a bit of, this is just fine turf, it's the burnt grass colour, so it's quite subtle. So I'll just let it land and then gently brush it off when it's dried, any excess. I don't know if it really shows up, but hopefully it gives them more of an aged appearance. It's just that fine turf burnt grass. Just tried something at the back of this little, I think it's a stable block. That's just the polyfibre again. I've sprayed it with brown spray paint, sprinkled coarse turf on it, the burnt colour, and then just some blended turf on top. Just it looks like it's fully inaccessible and overgrown. And I think arriving today should be the bits from scale model scenery. So I'm going to get them built up and get some of them placed around this area. I just had a slither off cut of my insulation board. I'm just deciding whether to try and build that in just to get a bit of more of a contour on that area there. It's quite good fun doing this because I ain't got a clue what I'm doing really, but just trying different bits, seeing how rough you can make it. Yeah, it's a bit different, but I'm enjoying it. Slow progress, but hopefully this week I'll get it done. The little kit from Scale Model Scenery is here, so I'm just starting to look at assembling some of these bits. So first bit, you get 2 rollers, so they're just clamped and gluing now before I paint them. And then you get a selection of springs and different size wheels, some gears, and bits like that. So they've just had a coat of Humbrol rust. I thought I'd paint them before I take them out the sprues, then I can just touch up any bits I need to do. So once they're dry, I'll have a look at where I'm going to scatter those on that area. Thank you to everybody for your thoughts and advice around the potential of what I can do with these locos. I have decided these 6 older ones, which are probably from the late 80s, early 90s, I'm not going to do anything with. I don't think there's any value in selling them either, but I've had them a long time, so I'm going to keep them. I can always set up a bit of analog track. I've got an old analog controller, just get them cleaned up and just somewhere to run them now and again, but they're probably worth more to me than they are anybody else. As for these other 4, I am going to consider having these converted to DCC. Now, I know there's comments saying it's quite an easy thing to do. There's lots of YouTube videos, but this is part of the hobby. I'm really not comfortable in electronics and bits like that. So I would rather look to see if there's anywhere out there, places I can maybe send them to have them serviced and upgraded to DCC. So that's something I'm going to look at. When that will be, I do not know. Because if you remember, if I just spin round, at the beginning of the year, I shared those 3 engines over there that I was having running issues with, and I had some advice about what I could do with them to look at. Well, we're now in October, and that was January, and I've done nothing with them. As I say, I just kind of shy away from this side of the modelling. So I've got to get to grips at some point to get all these engines working so I can have them on this layout. But just thank you to everybody for your thoughts. I've got a clear idea of what I'm going to do now. I think before I go any further with all these overgrowth and that, I'm going to just focus on this track. So I'm just going to lay some PVA down. I'm going to use the sieve soil from the garden first, just to get a base layer, compact it in, then I'll start to get a few weeds and that growing through it. Just I might even try and run a vehicle or 2 down it just to create some tracks, but it's not going to be heavily used, so I do need it to look like it is a little bit overgrown. I've not made this easy for myself. I've done it totally the wrong way around. I should have done the path really first, and then I could have blended the static grass to be growing over the edges of it, but I'll continue, see how we get on. Then there'll be quite a bit of patching up to do, I imagine. Right, that's the initial layer of soil down, right up past the farmhouse into the entrance to the sheep field. Like I said, I should have done that first before the static grass, and maybe I didn't even need to put that original layer of fine green stuff down because it was really hard to get the glue down, but you live and learn. So I'm going to let this dry off. I've just pressed it down to make sure it goes into the glue. Once it's dried, I'll give it a hoover up and then we'll start with the next steps. Just trying to define the pathway now, or the track. So I'm about halfway along. Still need some more colour on it and a bit more growth here and there. I've managed to get one of these field rollers rusted up and in place. I'm trying to make it look like it's been there and the stuff's growing through. And I've also got just some small springs, wheels, cogs, so I'll be able to get those dotted around as well. So slow progress. Like I said earlier, I've made it more difficult for myself by doing the static grass first and maybe covering it with that base layer. I probably didn't need to, but we are getting there. So the plan now is to get the rest of the static grass down, then start making some more of this heavily overgrown patches just to cover the majority of it. I don't know if you can see the field roller better with that view. I've just tried to get some growth coming up around it. Still some more to add. Now, a lot of you will know from some of my early videos that my static grass skills are pretty much diabolical. I'm not the greatest. Yeah, I've not got the greatest static grass applicator to get in small gaps like this, but I just make use of what I've got, really. So it never stands. It's got new batteries in. I always make sure I've got good batteries, but as you can see, it doesn't always work, so my cheaty way, which I always do, just to try and get it to stand, is get the old hoover on it and it kind of lifts it. So that's kind of the first layer. That's 4mm, just a mixture of hay and medium green, I think that is. So then onto there, I'll just sprinkle a bit of the earth blend. So I'll just let that sit for a bit and then I'll spray it over and go over with some 7mm. So in the same process, I'll just 7mm now, so just a bit of spray in some of the areas. Seven mil on. And get the old hoover out again, the handheld. There you go, it's not pretty. And then just a bit of the old earth blend, just to tone it down a bit. So it'll not win any awards, but hopefully I get away with it. So hopefully it don't come out too bad. There'll be some bushes and underbrush to go on there, and all along this edge and round there I'll put some more of this polyfibre just to build it all up. So that's just a light scattering of burnt grass, fine turf just on the roofs. Hoovered off the excess, so I'm ready to do the final bit of static grass now. I've remembered this time to cover up the areas I don't want. I always forget to do that and I end up with bloody strands of static grass everywhere, and as much as you hoover it up, before you know it, it's got inside your working gear and that on your loco. So hopefully this time I'm going to prevent that. Okay, so I've been playing around with various scatters, static grasses, soil, underbrush, bushes, polyfibre, seafoam trees, and then I've put some of the scale C models, bits down, some broken fence posts I've added in. You could go on and on and on forever, actually, adding more and more scenics. Before you know it, you've got through a full tub of scatter. I'm just deciding whether I want to put some more trees in there or not. I've got quite a few that I've made up, and still quite a lot more to make up. I don't know whether it needs it, but you know, it's been a fun 2 or 3 days. It's been a short week because I've had things on this weekend, so I'll start to just look at it now. I'm going to run some trains past just to see what the view looks like, but I'll just then keep considering if I need to add anything else on there. But you know, hopefully it's an improvement on the bare brown patch that was there. Just does look better for when you're at a distance watching the trains go past now, seeing that big ugly bare patch. So that's probably progress for this week. I'm sure there's more I could keep adding to this, and I probably will as we go along. One thing I think I mentioned previously I do want is like a rusted up old tractor, but I can't seem to find anything, so I may be at the stage where I'm going to have to just buy one and try and make it look old and decrepit. So this weekend the wife's away. I shouldn't sound too excited, but she's off away for the weekend, and there is a local model railway exhibition called Caister Rail. It's in Caister, over near where I live. It's only 50 miles, so it's a small exhibition with a few layouts, and I think there's a few trade stands there, so I'm going to spend the day there probably Saturday just to have a look for a bit of inspiration, and if there's any little bargains I can pick up. So if I do get anything, I'll share them next week, but other than that, thank you and see you all soon.